going to take your notes. You're going to do what? I'm going to take your notes. Oh, okay, let's try. Do you play the C major prelude from Book 1 of the Well-Tempered Clavier and struggle with thumb bumps? Clunk, 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 clunk. They're like little speed bumps along the way. And wouldn't it be nice if we could clear up these muddy thumb bumps by just getting out some soap and water and cleaning the keyboard or washing our hands? Alas, it's not that easy, but if you stick with me for this short tutorial, I'm going to pass on a little tip that's helped me to eliminate those nasty thumb bumps. Well, hi there again, it's me, Penny. Welcome back to my practice room. In this short tutorial, I'm talking about just the prelude, not the fugue, just the prelude in C major. That's the first prelude in Volume 1 of the Well-Tempered Clavier by J.S. Bach. Now those thumb bumps, you know the ones I'm talking about, right? If we're not careful, it'll sound like this. You know those horrible thumb bumps, and even when we try to minimize it, they can still stick out at the most inopportune moments. I'm doing my darndest to try to minimize them, but it's, for me anyway, maybe it's the shape of my hand and the length of my thumb, I don't know, but it's virtually impossible for me to eliminate all of the bumps I get when my right hand thumb is in use in this piece. And we have this same little yum bum 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 bum. This little rhythmic figure, these 16th notes, saturate the whole piece. So, you know, there's really nothing to hide behind. We are quite exposed here when we play this piece. And it wasn't until this past summer when I recorded this piece on kind of a whim, when those wonderful images of the sky and the stars and the galaxy from the James Webb Telescope, when all of that came out and I was just so profoundly moved by those images, I'll put them on the screen again, that I just had to play this piece with that photo in mind. So I didn't actually get to the fugue, and I need to, but I was battling the thumb bumps back then, and I went through my whole life not changing up my fingering in such a way as to eliminate those thumb bumps until this past summer, when I tried taking some of the right hand notes into my left hand, and lo and behold, success! At least I thought I had success. I'm very pleased with that performance, and I'll link it here in the video in case you want to check it out. But you know, I mean, the typical fingering that we use in this piece for the right hand, which comes in on the G on our thumb, so left, thumb, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, or maybe 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. But I think all of the pianists, virtually all of us, play those right hand low notes with the thumb. But, and if you don't have this problem, well then, click off of the video and find something else on my channel that may be of use. But if you take the notes that the right hand thumb was playing and give them to the left hand, it will be the left hand thumb that has them. But because the left hand doesn't have so many 16th notes, it's got those half notes and the tied notes, that it's a little bit more anchored and fixed and grounded and deep in the key. So I took the right hand thumb notes and placed them in my left hand. So there are 4 notes per bar, for the most part, that have been switched from right hand to left hand. I'll show you on the screen here what I mean. You can hear that thumb is quite heavy. It's like a ball and chain, and it gets so predictable. So now, and this is a little complicated because I've got the tripod between my legs, so I'm a little bit crowded, but we're just trying to make a point here. Let me do this now with the left hand thumb. I'm going to take your notes. You're going to do what? I'm going to take your notes. Oh, okay, let's try. Okay, here we go. It's infinitely better, even with the tripod between my legs here. I'm bumping it, sorry. But you get the idea. Now let's just take a quick look here at the score. You can see that these right-hand thumb notes, the first note of every bar in the right-hand thumb, and then 3 notes later, right? So all of these G's that the right hand has in measure 1, take those with your left-hand thumb. And then the same pattern, just keep that going. In measure 2, all of these A's that the right-hand thumb had, take them with the left, G's in the 3rd bar, so on and so forth. Continuing on in that fashion, you can see these brackets, or these little circular loops. There's 4 of them per bar, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Every time the right-hand thumb plays, I'm taking it with my left-hand thumb. And that works well for me. And of course, you have to remember, as I just pan over to page 2, that fingering is something to constantly be experimented with. And the right fingering is the one that feels good to you and that lets you achieve what you want to say with the music. And for me, that means no thumb bumps. So here in measure 18, we're continuing in the same fashion. And then at 21, where the hands start to get further apart, I cannot reach a 10th comfortably. And even if I could, I think it would be a stretch. Then I think I would end up having left-hand thumb bumps. So from 21, 22, and 23, actually 21 and 22, I'm taking all those notes in the treble clef with the right hand as we normally would. And then in 23, I'm taking these left-hand notes with the left-hand thumb, grabbing those in my right hand, because for me that, again, it helps to promote constant movement of the hand. Back at 24, I'm taking in the left-hand thumb, the right-hand thumb notes as I did at the beginning, and continuing on in that fashion for pretty well the rest of the piece. And then here at 32, just playing it as written. And then of course the end, we have a different texture at the very end, so we don't have to worry about so many thumb bumps, although a lot of rotation I think is needed in here, because if you're not careful, your thumb on this F can stick out, and maybe the high F. There's a lot of bumps. You gotta pave your road here in measure 33. This one is a little easier, at least for my hand. But yeah, feel free to use this. I hope it's helpful. You can hear, let me go back once to playing it with the thumb. It's like clunk, 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 clunk. And I think it's so ugly and unwanted. Actually, ugliness in music can be a good thing, but not in this piece, I don't think. So let me show you what it sounds like when I take those right-hand thumb notes with my left-hand thumb. No bumps. And it's just like we've paved the road, right? No more bumps on the road. It's like a light switch. It's an instant fix. And then the left hand will need to do a little bit more rotation. I think that this actually, it feels better too. The other thing is that when I played this piece, and whenever I will play it again, I will be listening for the left hand half notes, which are on beat 1 and beat 3 of every bar. And those are the notes that I'm singing. So for instance, it sounds like, and I'll just sing along as I play. Give myself C, because I don't have perfect pitch, or even relative pitch. I wish I did. and so on. And oh, I shouldn't have stopped there because it's coming to the juicy part, right? La, la. These are jazzy chords, eh? Minor, minor, seventh chord there, and then this is like 1970s Carpenter's music there. There's some reminiscent sounds there. But in order to voice those half notes in the left hand, I find that they're easier to voice when I'm grabbing the right hand's former thumb notes with the left hand thumb. But at the end of the day, the reason I chose this was obviously to eliminate those thumb bumps. We get lots of thumb bumps in scales. It's easy to have when you cross your thumb under. You know, you know, it's very unattractive. And if you're not aware that it's happening, you can't fix it. So be aware of the thumb and the thumb bumps, and regardless of the fingering that you choose, slow practice will do the trick there. As I was preparing for this video and sort of reminding myself what the thumb bumps sound like, cringe moment, it was making me play around with the pieces though it were kind of a jazz thing, right? So with the thumb bumps, right? And that was making me think of this kind of interpretation. The piece, that's Bach. I mean, people have said how jazzy his music is. I think it almost works. I am no jazz pianist and I do not improvise well at all. But in that case, I think the thumb bumps are quite stylish and fun. But when we play them as this music is, I don't want to say as it's intended, because what do we really know what Bach intended? You know, I think as long as his music is alive these 300 years later and giving pleasure, I like to think that he would be open-minded to any kind of adaptation of it. But certainly, as I've said before, the power of Bach's music for me is that it provides a kind of escapism and deep listening and a sense of the transcendental or almost a cosmic kind of experience. It's like, oh, otherworldly. But this, to me, this is not otherworldly. This is like we're at the party, you know, having popcorn and chips and stuff. And that's good too, but, you know, I would rather be otherworldly with this music. So to each his own or her own. But those thumb bumps, do try this little trick. And I think there's some places, if I show you the sheet music, I should add that by taking the right hand thumbs with your left hand thumb, it'll mean you have to adjust a lot of your other fingering. And so I have penciled in my fingering here for you. I don't normally put in all of my fingering in the score. I find it just too much to look at. But I wanted to provide it here for you. And then the second page, beginning with measure 18. So you can pause this section as needed and mark in any fingering that's useful. Try it out, see if it feels good. If it does, great. If not, well, then forget about it. And of course I would be remiss if I didn't show you my little my little holiday cottage here at the lodge kind of thing. I got my little horsey in here. Got a little switch in the back. Kind of cute, eh? No? I had that thing since I lived in Toronto. That thing is about 13 or 14 years old. I've never had it on the piano, but I think, oh, it's just so cute. I love the little horse in there. It looks very cozy, especially up here. And of course, there's a piano inside and a fireplace and cookies and lots of good treats. So this should help you to minimize those thumb bumps. You know, when I think of clean playing, it reminds me of Joseph Hoffman, the great Polish pianist who was my teacher's grand teacher, so I'm kind of related, as are my students. That's a nice thought. And I've talked about him in one of my shorts videos that I put up. And there was one where he talked about you shouldn't play off of a dirty keyboard. He was very clean. He was always washing his hands. He would clean the keys after every practice session because he said, you know, when you're eating, you don't eat off of a dirty dish. You wash your dishes when you're done eating. Well, at the piano, you wash your keys, you wash your hands when you're done playing. And that's all well and good and everything, but man, it doesn't help for clean playing. So this will help. And there are, I could never count the number of times where I have taken a note from one hand and given it to the other hand. This is something that pianists do all the time. And it's kind of like a breakthrough discovery. This was a breakthrough discovery when I figured it out. And it just made me suddenly, like a light switch had been turned on, I could instantly achieve the kind of voicing that I wanted. So I hope that's helpful. This is a bit of a short tutorial for you today. But thumb bumps, it's an issue in everything we play, especially in Bach, because, well, we can't rely too much on the pedal, and so we have to have very good articulation and good fingering. Thanks for watching. Happy practicing to you. And we'll see you again soon for some more performances of Bach's music and teaching, or shall I say practice tips. See you again. Bye-bye.